Alright, welcome to the mastering menus and workspace customization video. Cool, we're just going to jump straight into it because we're dope like that. So here's what we're going to cover. Understanding menu and preferences. So familiarize yourself with the file, edit, and view menus and customize preferences for better performance. Overview of the editing workspace. So identify essential panels like the timeline, preview window, media bin, and tools to understand your editing environment. And then we're going to jump into the interface overview. So you should familiarize yourself with the workspace, including the timeline, media bin, preview window, and tools panel. So we're going to explore the effects, audio, and color grading panels to understand each section's purpose. And then we're going to move my face out of the way so that we can customize your workspace. So we're going to rearrange panels to suit your workflow, save custom layouts for easy switching, understand preset configurations to make your workspace more efficient. Cool. So warning, this is the most important video in the entire course so far. So watch the entire video, don't skip, don't fast forward. If you really want to save time, pro tip, just watch the video in XX speed. Alright, so understanding menus and preferences. File menu. Familiarize yourself with the file menu to manage your projects and assets. So we're just going to jump into After Effects here. This is the file menu. So in the file menu, it's where you make new projects, new team projects, all that sort of stuff. You open projects, so you can open projects inside projects. You browse around, you can close projects, you can save projects, revert back to the beginning, you can import all your files, you can export all your files, so you can export your final video, import footage, add some fonts, you can find stuff in here, so if you ever want to find anything, just come here, press find, search it, and it'll show you where it is. You got the dependencies, which is a bit confusing, but we'll talk about those later. You know, the scripts, we got proxies, which are... I'll talk about later, and your project settings, for example, these sorts of things, which you don't really need to mess around with that often, to be honest. Alright, cool. So that's the file thing. The only thing I really use in here is for closing projects, saving projects, exporting projects, and that's about it. And dependencies. I use dependencies a little bit as well. Alright, so, and when it says familiarize yourself, I don't expect you to remember everything that's in there. You know, you'll figure out what you use in there the most, so it doesn't really matter. Don't familiarize yourself. Don't remember everything, because even I don't remember everything, because it doesn't matter. You'll figure out what you need and what you don't need. Alright, so next is the edit menu. Or that, I didn't even read that. Use the edit menu for undoing, redoing actions, and trimming clips. Cool, so in the edit menu, you got like the history, so everything that you want to undo. So everything you've done should be in here up to a point. It won't save everything. It'll start purging old ones once you start getting to a lot of actions. You can duplicate clips. Yeah, this is how you change your labels. You can purge things out of your memory, team projects. You got your templates down here, your preferences. Keyboard shortcuts are in this one as well. But the main purpose that you use this one for is if, for example, don't worry about what I'm doing. I'm just using it as example. If I cut this and I go, oh shit, didn't want to cut that. Edit, undo. Edit, redo. You know, there you go. So that's what's up in here. There is shortcuts for these, and I'll show you those in a second, but that's what that panel up there is for. Alright, so the view menu. So customize the view menu to adjust your workspace's visibility and layout. So the view menu is this one right here. So you zoom in, zooms in, zoom out, zooms out. The resolution. Now, this isn't what the resolution of the video, it's what you're seeing it as, but when you export it, it'll go back to its maximum one. So we put this on a quarter because you don't want to be watching the video in 4K every time you render it because it'll take forever and it'll be hard on your laptop. So set this to quarter. Other stuff in here is like showing your rulers. So this stuff here, so that you can make sure everything lines up in your video. I'm going to unclick that. You know, it's got the guiders, which you can't even see anyway, I guess. You know, the lock guides, all that sort of stuff. Anything that you want in here. So for like showing grids, anything you want to be able to line up anything with, you come up into the view panel and it'll have some sort of setting for you to turn on to do that. You know, layer controls, switch to layout view. So, you know, you can have two views. This is if you're doing a 3D layer, but, you know, we'll get into that more often. I'm just showing you what's in here. So we'll go back to, you know, 4 views. It's basically like, imagine if you have one camera here, one camera behind, 2 cameras on the side, you'd be able to see me from all angles if I had that imported in here. So, but we're not going to worry about that because we'll get into 3D a little bit later. Assign shortcut to active default camera, switch to 3D view, go to this time, lock all layers, look at selected layers, switch to last 3D, you know, all that sort of stuff. So there's just quite a lot in the view panel. But like I said, you don't need to fucking go through and learn everything and remember everything. You know, you just need to have a general idea of what's in what. Alright, preferences. Set preferences for performance optimization like playback quality and cache settings. We already did this in the optimizing your laptop video when we go into After Effects and optimize After Effects for your laptop. So really, we're all good with that. But we'll just go back over it real quick. Little quicksy one. Set this to quarter. On the right here, under the preview tab, if you can't see it, click on window, click on preview. Come up here, copy these settings. So shortcut spacebar. Turn on the eye, turn on the microphone, cache before playback, range work area, play from current time, frame rate 29.97, resolution quarter, skip 0, on spacebar stop, if caching, play the cached frames. And then I think there was one more thing actually. Oh yeah, the cache settings. So yeah, you know, just in your cache file, edit, preferences, media and disk cache. Come in here and mess around with these settings, and I'll show you what it is in a second after my After Effects would like to load. Alright, so basically what you want to do is you want to set the medium disk cache to 800 gigs. You'll be clearing it every 200, but better to be safe than sorry. You want to choose a folder that it goes into. So if you have a thumb drive or a SSD or a hard drive, choose that. I swear to God, it'll make your laptop run way better. Choose the folder, choose it, make it go to it so that you can purge it from there. Every time you start a new project, come in here and empty your disk cache. So I think mine's only at like 10 or 20 at the moment, so 18. So I'm not going to worry about doing it just yet. If you're in the middle of an edit and your edit starts to slow down a lot out of nowhere, it's probably this. Alright, so other than that, you know, we can click OK, and then that is all good. Alright, overview of your editing workspace. So identify the panels. Familiarize yourself with the timeline, preview window, media bin, and tools. Alright, I'm going to go more in depth in each of these in a second, so I'm just going to kind of give you a quick little rundown. In the top left here is your, move this little boy out of the way, this is your project panel. This is where you stick all your files, all your music, anything that you're going to edit with goes here, and on the top right of that, when you put an effect on a video, it opens this on the top right, so you can select between the two of them, or, yeah, you just select between the two of them. This is where you control your effects from as well. So you control your media and your effects from this one panel. This down here is your timeline panel. This is where you edit everything, basically. You put it on there, and whatever goes on here is shown up here. And what this is your preview panel. So this is how you see and watch everything that is going on and happening to your edit. So you obviously know what you're doing. You can change the resolution. There's heaps of settings here, like the grids and stuff, to make sure that you got everything lined up properly. You know, you got your time there as well, all that sort of stuff. And then if I move my face out of the way, even though it's very pretty and I know you guys are only watching it for it, nah, just joking. You got other things up here, like this panel right here is basically what all of this stuff sits in. So this panel you can imagine is this entire thing on the right here. Anything that you want to be able to access out of this menu here, out of the window menu. So for example, like I really need to be able to access my effects at all times and my audio at all times. So I came into here, I clicked on effects and I clicked on audio and it showed up here. So now if I ever want to adjust with my audio, I don't have to worry about going up to here and clicking on it. If I just come over to my right, whatever I've selected, if I click on the audio, I can adjust it. And if I come to effects and presets, which is the main one I know a lot of people come here for, if you let it load for a second, because I have so many, it's just over to the right here. You just click on it, everything loads. You know, you open one of these and you click, drag, and then drop it onto what you want. So that's pretty basic. That's what all these panels do. At the top, obviously, you got the tool panel. So any tools that you use, like the shape tool or text, just any of the mini tools are kind of all up in here. These you don't really know about. And obviously, you've got all of the drop-down menus. So that's just a basic understanding of all them. We'll go into in-depth into each one, though, in a second. So adjust the panel size. So resize the panels to prioritize the ones that you use most. After you edit for a while, you'll get a feel. You'll go, all right, you know, I don't really use this project panel too much. I'm just going to make it shorter a bit. I have a lot of trouble with having so many compositions that I've got to scroll up and down. It's kind of hard to keep track, so I'm going to make this bigger. Over here, I really want to be able to read a bit more, so I'm going to make it a little bigger. And then, you know, I really want a color grading panel added in. So you click on window and you come down and you open the Lumacherry scopes. And now that's there as well on your video. Obviously it's all black because there's no color in there. But yeah, so if you click in between the two and then hold and drag, you can resize. If you want to add extra, most of these things will add over here, but some of them will also add over here. And another thing too is you can actually drag these out and see now I can move it to another place that I want it to be. And so you don't have to do this right away. Just work on the basics and you'll understand it. If anything, you should even work on all panels. And after a while, you'll go, you know what? I really use effects and presets a lot. So I'm going to... So for example, I really use effects and presets a lot, but it's never here. Whenever I open it, it's not there. So I'm going to click it. I'm going to put it back down here. There we go. Hold on. Yeah, I'm going to put it back down here. I'm going to have it there, and I want it to stay there. So I'm going to click on Window, I'm going to click on Workspace, and I'm going to save changes to this workspace. Or you can even go save as a new workspace, tutorial workspace. And it'll save it. So every time you come in here, if you go on Workspace, and then, like, for example, if I come in here and I want that tut workspace again, I click on it, and it changes everything to that, and the effects and presets are there. So I'll actually show you my workspace. So this is the workspace that I like to work on. So it's got the control panel for the effects. The timeline's decently sized. You know, there's not much wasted space. The comp's kind of sitting right in the middle there for me to look at. I've got my keyframe app plugin just sitting there, and then I can also access everything from the right here. But, you know, as I said, as you go through it more, you'll find more and more of what you need to be there because everyone's different, and then you'll just put it there and save it. All right, reset to default. Know how to reset the workspace to default if needed. If you're fucking around with stuff and then you accidentally mess it up, which I have done. It's a pretty easy fix. So I'm just going to move my beautiful face out of the way again and close the Word document I just opened. If you come up to Window, Workspace, and say Reset Best to Saved Layout. So if I'm messing around with this and I accidentally move flow there and I'm like, oh crap, what did I do? Window, Workspace, Reset Best to the Save Layout. It'll all go back to normal again. Sometimes you double click, it'll open up completely and you'll be like, oh shit, what do I do? Window, Workspace, Reset to Save Layout. It'll come back to normal. Alright. Okay, interface overview. So the timeline. Organize your clips and layers in the timeline for efficient editing. Cool. So we'll get more into this anyway, but basically, down here is your timeline. Alright, so what I'm going to do basically here is I've given down below stuff that you guys can download to follow along with me. It's nothing that's congruent, like all three. It's just a random PNG, a random song I like, and random editing. So it's nothing that you can make anything out of. It's just crap, you know, that we're just going to put in here. It's just one PNG, one MP3 file, and one MP4 file, just to keep it easy for everyone to understand. So you just can follow along with me if you want. So, what are we doing again? We are organizing the clips and layers in the timeline for efficient editing. Yep, cool. So this is your timeline down here. The way you import stuff is to right-click, import file, and choose what you want. But we're going to go into more in depth into that later. That's fine. So if you just do that for now, click, drag, down, click, drag, click, drag. Now you can actually see that this is out of size. So what position? If it's a YouTube video, click the YouTube size and it should fit. And if it doesn't fit, it's the same size, so you just scale it. So you click on S and you just change how big it is or how small it is, and it'll fit because it is the same size. It's just it wasn't scaled properly, so that's fine. Now, so organizing clips in the timeline. Literally just have them in there and then color code them. So if you right click here and you press edit label colors, you can choose what color gets what. So whenever I put an MP4 file in, it's orange. Whenever I put a song in, it's dark blue. And whenever I put a PNG in, it's lavender. So as you can see here, look, audio blue, video orange, still lavender. So just mess around with these or just leave them how they are. I think it automatically does it. But just change each one to a different color and you'll start getting used to it. And just to keep your timeline organized, it's pretty self-explanatory. Just pull this up a bit. And, you know, as you're editing, I won't get into organization a lot right now because I've actually got a separate video for organization just completely and utterly. But it's basically just pull your timeline up so you can see a lot and you'll be able to keep it organized. Alright, media bin. Import and arrange all your assets in the media bin for quick access. Cool. In the media bin, that's this up here. So, you know, as we just said, right click, import file. And then import stuff in. You can double click it or you can press click and then open. So, you know, if I import file, load for a second, I can double click that and it'll come in, or I can just click it once and press import. Otherwise, the other option is to just open your files straight up and then just click and drag, and it'll come in. Cool. Alright, so to keep this organized, you just want to make new folders. So I'll show you how to do that anyway, but like I said, I'm going more in depth on all this later on, but this is just a quick little video for you guys. If you click on this folder right here, or you right click and then press new folder, you can go, for example, PNGs, drag a PNG into it, and now it's in the folder. So you can do that with everything. So right click, new folder, music, you know, drag Travis Scott into there, right click, new folder, P4 or video, and then drag the MP4 into there, and then another one, right click, new folder, comps, drag the comps into there. Cool, now everything's sorted. Now when we open it, everything's underneath it. So that makes it nice and easy. I'll go in more in depth in that later on anyway. Alright, preview window. Use the preview window to check your edits in real time. Yep, cool, nice and easy. Wherever this playhead is wherever it'll play from if you've changed your preview settings to mine. So you just press the spacebar. It'll preload everything so you can watch it all very congruently, very smoothly. So that's very nice. And it'll load wherever these two, this thing and this thing are. So if I put this here and here, it'll just load that. And then it'll start playing it smoothly. Alright, so it's just a spacebar. Spacebar, spacebar. Alright. Tools panel. Familiarize yourself with the basic editing tools like the selection and razor tool. The razor tool is dog. I don't like it at all. Literally just put your playhead wherever you want and then click X and it'll do the exact same thing. It's a lot better than the razor tool. Hate the razor tool. It's pointless. Other than that, you know, you got your normal mouse. You got the hands to move this thing around. This magnifying glass, believe it or not, zooms in. Whoa, that's crazy. The scroll wheel literally does the exact same thing. So I'm not even using that tool, just a scroll wheel. It does the exact same thing, so that tool is also pointless. There's other stuff here that you can use, but we're going to go more in depth into each of those later on. You know, just for example, that's the shape tool. The shape tool doubles, so it doubles as a shape, and it also doubles as a masking tool to cut stuff out with. You know, if I want only his face, you know, cuts it out. So what's interesting about this one is if you hold the click button, you can choose different shapes. Circle, you know. So that's that one. You know, you got the pen tool in case you don't really want to draw a shape. I mean, those shapes don't work and you want to draw a shape. It also doubles as, again, a masking tool. So that's cool. So those two are like the same, except if you don't have a shape that works, you just draw it instead. You get the paintbrush tool. That's just you painting. You got to double click open, then paint, and then it'll show up. Stamp tool, eraser tool, roto brush, you know, which we'll get into later on because it's a lot harder, and the puppet position tool. Now, barely any of these matter. I know there is some way to get rid of them, but I have tried a couple tutorials. It just doesn't seem to work with mine, so I'm at a loss. I just leave them there anyway because they've been there for so long. I don't really care anymore. I know what I use, I know what I don't use, so it doesn't really matter. Alright, effects panel. Explore the effects panel to experiment with different visual and audio effects. Alright, don't sit here, right? I know that just said to explore, but don't sit here in the prod effects panel. If I just move my pretty face. Look, the effects panel's not there? Cool. Window. Effects panel. Where is it? Yeah, effects and presets. Cool, and that's it. Don't sit here going through each individual one, dragging it on to see what it does. It's useless. When you watch tutorials for effects, they'll tell you what effects they use, and you'll slowly over time pick up the ones that you really need. I think I probably use maybe 3 to 4% of the effects actually in here. You just don't need to learn them all. It's pointless. You're not going to remember it anyway. You're going to go through remembering them all just to forget them the next day. It's pointless. So just go in there and you watch an effect. As long as you know where the effects and tools panel is, you're fine. Because you'll know when you're watching the tutorial where to go to. Okay, I think I accidentally just glitched it a bit there. So where am I up to? Oopsie poopsie. Sorry guys, give me 1 second. And as you can see, you know, this is uncut. You know, I'm going to be as freaking real with you guys as I can be. So customizing your workspace. Rearrange your panels, move and resize the panels to match your editing style, save the layouts, preset the workspaces, and I'm pretty sure I already showed you guys how to do that anyway, but you know, just in between these panels, drag them, drag them, drag them, drag them, up on the window. You can choose other things you want to be in here, like if you're going to do color grading with the lumetri scopes there, you know, and I'll show up in a second. They'll take their time, of course. And then obviously if you want to reset it because you're like, oh shit, I didn't mean to make this happen, click on window, click on workspace, reset to save layout. It'll come back to how it was. If you add something that you want to keep, like the lumetri scopes, add them in, resize them how you want them, and click on window, click on workspace, and then click save as a new workspace, or save changes to this workspace. I just recommend doing a new one though and renaming it. Cool, so that's the basics for all that. Now, oh, look at that. We're on to the summary. How cool. 20 minutes. Because we're dope and you guys are dope. So the summary. Understanding the menus and preferences. So familiarize yourself with the file, edit, and view menus. Customize preferences for performances. Now, you don't have to just go in there and just learn everything, because you'll learn as you go through these tutorials where we actually start making stuff. I just want you guys to kind of know where everything is, because if you go in there and you try and remember everything, you're going to get bored as hell and you're going to quit because it is boring as hell. I'd rather you just pick it up while you're making cool shit. Alright, overview of the editing workspace. So customize your editing workspace by resizing key panels like the timeline, media bins, and preview window. Save your layout for convenience and know how to reset it when needed. Yep, so if you want to resize stuff now, go for it. But like I said, as you edit, you'll learn what you want to resize and what you want to have and what you want to don't, and you'll save it and it'll become yours. Organize the timeline, media bin, and tools for efficient editing, and explore the effects and preset window for real-time adjustments. They're already in pretty optimized spots anyway. You know, After Effects made the interface. They made it so it's easy to edit on, so you don't really got to do much with that. Customizing your workspace. Rearrange panels to suit your needs. Save custom layouts. Use preset workspaces. Set up keyboard shortcuts. Now, keyboard shortcuts is actually one that we didn't have a look at, so we're going to do that real quick. Close this off. If you go into Edit and you go to Keyboard Shortcuts, this actually shows you what everything does. If you want something specific, like for example splitting layers, you can search it, click here, and change whatever it is, whatever the shortcut is. So that's keyboard shortcuts. So if you ever want something to be a button on your keyboard, come in here, find what it's called, then choose it. So for example, look, 7. If I click on this, it'll actually tell me. So so number 7. If I click number 7, it is add a layer marker. So I click add here. If I add on it, 7 layer marker. Yeah? I'm trying to do something, bro. Yeah, but I'm recording and you just interrupted it. Like, if you can hear me talking, just give me a sec. Alright, so if you come down here, you click on 7 on the markers, you can see it adds markers. So just come into here, come into your keyboard shortcuts and just mess around with it. You'll see what everything is, you'll start to learn, and you'll start to go, it's a lot easier for me to have it on here. So like, for example, I think I added X as split layer. I'm not sure what it was before. I think it was C. For you guys it might be, but I prefer it to be X because it's closer to my hand while I'm editing. And Control Z is undo, Control Shift Z is redo. So you'll learn all that sort of stuff pretty easily. Alright, now check the link below for a quick cheat sheet about everything I covered. So if I didn't make sense at all about any of this, or even just one thing didn't make sense, there's a cheat sheet below with literal step-by-steps with the buttons that you click. So, if I'm just weird at talking or just shit at presentating at all, literally just go to that cheat sheet, figure it out, and you should be good from there. Alright, so I'll see you